From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, October the 14th, 2016. Israel today suspended its ties with the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, which is the cultural arm of the UN, after it passed a draft resolution that ignores the Jewish connection to the holy religious sites of Jerusalem. Israel's Education Minister Naftali Bennett, who serves as president of Israel's National Commission for UNESCO, announced the freeze, saying that the organization in its decision was denying history and, quote, giving a boost to terrorism. All meetings with UNESCO officials, participation in international forums, and professional cooperation will now be suspended until further notice. As we reported to you yesterday, UNESCO voted to adopt the resolution sponsored by several Arab countries and initiated by the Palestinians. In it, it refers to the Temple Mount, holy to both Muslims and Jews, only by its Islamic name, and does the same in regards to the Western Wall, though that is mentioned twice as such in quotation marks. The resolution also harshly condemns Israel as the, quote, occupier. Jewish leaders in Israel and here in the U.S. strongly condemned the resolution, calling it the latest example of bias against Israel and an attempt by the Palestinians to rewrite 2,000 years of history. UNESCO's Director General, Irina Bokova, also spoke out against the resolution. She released a statement today saying that each of Jerusalem's communities has, quote, a right to the explicit recognition of their history and relationship with the city. Bokova said, nowhere more than in Jerusalem do Jewish, Christian, and Muslim heritage and traditions share space and interweave to the point that they support each other. She said these cultural and spiritual traditions build on texts and references known by all that are an intrinsic part of the identities and history of peoples. Bokova cites various references to Jerusalem in the Torah, the Quran, and the New Testament. She said different religions worship in the same place under different names and that the, quote, recognition, use of, and respect for these names is paramount. The vote yesterday in Paris was at the committee stage of the resolution. It still has to be validated by the executive board of UNESCO next week, but the wording of the resolution is expected to remain unchanged. And staying with the UN, Israel's ambassador to the world body, Dani Danon, signed a comprehensive agreement yesterday with UN Women, the UN's institution for gender equality and the empowerment of women, and one of its largest agencies. Danon said the agreement represented a double victory for Israel. He said not only will we now receive the international recognition we deserve for our leadership in gender equality, but this is also an important step in Israel's being accepted as a full partner in the Parliament of Nations, adding we will continue to cooperate with the international community out of a feeling of responsibility to work towards a better and more equal world. Under the agreement, Israeli personnel will be integrated into UN Women, making Israel one of a limited number of countries to have such a relationship with the organization. Director General of Israel's Foreign Ministry, Dori Gold, announced his resignation yesterday. Gold said he was leaving the post for personal reasons. Gold was born in the U.S. He served in the position since June of last year. He has served in various foreign policy advisory positions and also as Israel's ambassador to the UN in the late 90s. Gold called his role of Director General a professional and personal peak in all the years he served on the diplomatic front. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin hosted a meeting of Israeli Jewish religious leaders with senior Palestinian Muslim clerics yesterday in a joint call for peace. The meeting was organized by American think tank the Washington Institute for Near East Policy and was said to be the first of its kind. The religious leaders gathered at the president's residence in Jerusalem to issue a call against religiously inspired violence. Among those present were Israel's Sephardic Chief Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef and Sheikh Mahmoud Chabash, who serves as the Palestinian Supreme Sharia Court judge and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas's Islamic Affairs advisor. In a joint statement released after the gathering, the leaders said, "We believe the deliberate killing of or attempt to kill innocents is terrorism, whether it is committed by Muslims, Jews, or others. In this spirit, we encourage all our people to work for a just peace, mutual respect for human life, and for the status quo on the holy sites, and the eradication of religious hatred." And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, October the 14th, live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 o'clock from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed by a concert of Israeli musicians at 7:30, and at 8, the awards ceremony from the Brooklyn Jewish Hall of Fame, followed at 9 by the film Israel Indivisible. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 5:30, Rabbi Shlomo Riskin shares his thoughts on this week's Torah portion. And looking ahead to Sunday evening and the beginning of the Sukkot holiday, JBS will air live services from Central Synagogue from 6 to 8 in the evening, Eastern Time, and then Monday morning beginning at 9:30. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, October the 14th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.